Alrighty, welcome back to my channel, May Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to be doing my February TBR. Now, in December last year, I didn't have a TBR at all because I wanted to allow myself to read really freely. And then in January, I didn't follow any prompts from any read-alongs or readathons because, again, I wanted to have a more free kind of, reading whatever was on my radar at the moment kind of TBR, and I'm going to continue that again this month. I'm just kind of enjoying the break from prompts and challenges at the moment, but I'm sure that I will get in the mood, to have those again because I am a checklist type person. I like checking boxes. But for now, I'm just going to kind of pick whatever's on my radar for this month. The first one on this list, an extremely high priority, is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I know this has been on my last 2 or 3 TBRs at this point, but I'm finally ready to pick this up. My library's copy of the Oathbringer audiobook finally came in for me last month, and I was able to finish it, so I did want to reread that before picking this book up. I also finally read Dawn Shard, which is the novella that you're supposed to read between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. I actually read it as a buddy read last week with Yasmin from Yasmin Be Reading. I'll be sure to link her down below. Go check out her channel. She's awesome. But I did finally read that book. It'll be in my wrap-up, so you can hear my thoughts on those. But that means that I am finally caught up and ready to pick this up. So I'm going to be doing that. This is going to be my main priority this month. These next couple books are actually rollovers from January that I'm still interested in reading and I just didn't get to. The first one is going to be a new release, and that is Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna McGuire. This is the next installment in the Wayward Children series, which I absolutely adore with all of my heart. So I kind of don't know why I didn't get to this, but I definitely will be picking this up this month. If you've somehow never heard of it, the Wayward Children series is a series of short, I guess you could call them novellas. They're very small, usually 200, 250 pages. It's a collection of those that tell the stories of children who have found a secret door that leads them to a world that is meant for them. But somehow, through whatever series of circumstances, they end up coming back to this world, and they can't adjust to being back because the other world is where they truly belong. So the first book takes place in a school that has been created for these children to help them reacclimate or to help them kind of search for their door again. Each consecutive book focuses on a different child and, the world that they went to. And it's like one big adventure. So it's really, really fun. And I have no idea what to expect with this next one, but I really think I'm going to love it. The next one is also a new release, and that is Hall of Smoke. Now, this one, I did see some people got to it when it was released in the middle of January. I did see some people posting reviews, and I've seen overall quite positive for it. So I am excited still to get to this one. I want to, develop my own opinion on it. And I love when gods are actual, physical beings who get involved in the lives of humans. I tend to really like those stories, so I still really want to pick this one up. This book was from my most anticipated releases video for 2021, so I'll be sure to link that above and down below if you want more in-depth thoughts as to, why I wanted to pick this up or other books that are on my radar this year. But I didn't get to this one in its release month, but I still really do want to get to it now. This is the last book that is a rollover, and that is The Kingdom of Liars by Nick Martell. This is a book that I bought early. What is that light? Is that from my window? Sorry about that glare, guys. Oh, I know what it is. I have one of those little crystal hearts in my window. That's what this is. Well, all right. I'll just let it do its thing. Sorry if that annoys you. Anyway, this is a book that I bought in the beginning of last year, in 2020, because the cover is gorgeous and some of my friends on BookTube read this and adored it. So I wanted to get my hands on it, so I bought it. Usually I don't allow myself to buy books until I've read them, but I made an exception for this one because I was really excited and the cover was stunning. But I still haven't picked it up. So this is a crime at this point, and I am really interested in this book. Essentially, this book follows our main character, who is the son of the man who killed the previous king. So he's kind of an outlier. Is that the word I'm looking for? That's a data point in math. Outcast, that's the word. He is an outcast. And he wants to kind of set the record straight and integrate back into society, from what I know. One of the things that really piqued my interest in this book is it has a really high-cost magic system, which I love. So in order to use magic, I believe, you have to give up a memory, and that's a pretty hefty cost. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be very politic-y, has a really interesting magic system, and I'm definitely going to get to this month. I'm speaking it into existence. The next book on this list is also part of my most anticipated books for 2021, and that is The Black Coast. Now, this one, not gonna lie, when I saw the cover, interest immediately piqued. I love dragons, I love fantasy, I love war. Looks like it has all of that. And I was right when I read the description. So from what I know about this book, there is a specific town or group of people who ride dragons as a, they're military, so they have battle dragons, essentially. And at one point, they believe they're being attacked, so they fly out to, a group of people who are approaching their town, and it turns out that they're actually refugees running away from some other conflict. And that kind of sucks the warrior dragons into this bigger war. I don't know much more than that, but I don't need to know much more than that. Sounds really interesting. Warrior dragons, politicking, large-scale battles. Sign me up. So this next one is also from my most anticipated books of 2021 video. There were two that were released in February, but this one's actually really outside of my usual genre. And that is How the One-Armed Sister Cleans Her House. Now, I don't know too much about this one, but what I gathered from the little blurb that it had was it's about a woman who lives in a place where the gap between the haves and the have-nots is gigantic. So basically the people who are locals in this place, typically people of color, are very poor and tend to work the minimum wage jobs. And then this is a place where richer people, usually white people, come to vacation. So there's this gap, both racially and economically. It seems like it's going to be quite hard-hitting and really delve into these topics, which is going to be good for me, because when I do read books that are kind of set in our world, more not necessarily contemporary, but, non-fantastical fiction, I tend to prefer when it's heavy-hitting. So I think this is going to hit the right notes for me, and I'm really excited to pick this up. Plus, just look at that cover. Look at the colors. Gorgeous. I'd actually forgotten that this book was on this list, but I do have one other rollover from January, and that is for the Moods and Pages book club run by Donna Tsundoku. Again, I'll link her down below so you can, or her announcement video, so you can check out that book club. But she started a book club this year that was specifically geared towards romance-based fantasies. So fantasies where the core of it is a romance. And I really enjoy those types of books. So while I'm not going to read every month with this book club, the book for the first month was really up my alley, or something I was interested in picking up, and that was These Violent Delights. I have seen this book everywhere. Everywhere I look, this book is there. And I know that it's supposed to be a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet. Maybe not modern, actually. I think it's actually in like the 1950s Shanghai. So not modern, but it is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet. And I've seen really good reviews in general, although some people in the Discord for the book club, like, DNF'd it and wanted nothing to do with it. So I'm really interested to see what I finally think of it, because it was so popular that I wasn't able to get my hands on it from the library until February 1st. So I guess I'm just going to be pushing that one to this month. I was convinced to read this next one solely by Sophia over on Fantasy Book Addict. She loves this book, she sings its praises all the time, and I've seen a lot of other people enjoy it as well, and that is Raybearer. This book has kind of been floating on my radar for a while, but I'm not gonna lie, I saw the Fairy Loot edition of this book and I was like, I really want to own that, but I'm not gonna allow myself to buy a special edition of a book that I haven't read yet. So I figured it was the perfect excuse to get my butt in motion and finally read this book. So what I know about it is it's about our main character who's a princess, I believe, and her mother is kind of this god-like goddess figure, and so she's very strict on her daughter and very controlling, and her daughter wants to break out of that. I don't know much more than that, just that the daughter, I think, is gonna inherit a lot of power, and with great power comes great responsibility, and it's kind of a coming of age story of her figuring out what she wants to do with her life and how she wants to rule, and the conflict with her mother. That's all I know about it, but it seems to be really interesting, and a lot of people sing its praises, and plus, if I love it, I can buy that special edition because it's just gorgeous. The next one on my list is How to Be an Anti-Racist. This is one that's been on my continuing education TBR that I have for myself for a long time, but I wasn't able to get my hands on it again through the library because it was really popular. So it finally came in, the audiobook finally came in, and I actually did start it yesterday, and I'm liking it so far. It's very short for an audiobook. I think it's only 10 hours, and I tend to listen on 2x speed. So I think I'm going to get through this pretty quickly, but so far it's already gotten me to think a bit differently about concepts that I had kind of solidified in my head. It's making me look at it from another angle, which is a really great sign. So I'm excited to continue with this one. Now these last two are connected to my Retro Reads challenge that I do on my channel. I'll be sure to link the announcement video for that up above and down below. I would like to make a newer version of that announcement video, but I haven't gotten around to it yet, so for now the one that I did last year will have to do. But essentially what I do is I take retro reads that are from over 5 years ago that were popular on BookTube, or at this point kind of any book that is either underrated or popular, both are fine, but it has to be from over 5 years ago, and I put those titles in this cup, and then every month I pull a title from here. So last month I pulled the Vampire Academy, and I don't know, I really did expect to like it, I think, but I didn't expect to love it, and I loved it. I finished this yesterday or 2 days ago, and I marathoned it. I couldn't put it down. I loved it. I have a vlog of reading this book coming out soon, and I made some predictions in the beginning, and let's just say I did pretty well with my predictions. But the fact that I was able to kind of see the plot points beat for beat didn't take away from those plot points happening, because they were done really, really well. And the characters were like slightly, like they filled those archetypes that these types of books usually have, but they were slightly twisted in a way that made it really interesting, and it seemed really fresh. So, and I laughed out loud more than once in this book. I love the main character. So let me not do a review, okay? That's for the wrap up. But because I enjoyed this first one so much, I'm gonna put the second one on my TBR for this month. I think it's what, Frostbite? Is that what it's called? But I'm gonna get that from my library. There seems to be a wait for that one as well, though, so maybe it's, even though it's backlist, it seems to be pretty popular still, so I don't know. But when I get my hands on that one, I'll be picking that up as well. And finally, let's pick our book for this month. So I have new ones here that I added at the beginning of the year, suggestions from you guys on Twitter and on my one of my first videos this year. So there's quite a few in here, and I don't remember them all. So let's see what I get. Okay, so it looks like I will be reading. No! I didn't know I put this back in there. The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Okay, if you've been around my channel, this is a running joke. This was the very first book that I ever pulled out of the cup. And it's the only book that I didn't finish within the monthly time limit. I tried so many times to finish this book. I think I'm like 60% through, but I would get it from my library, like physically here, read a little bit of it and put it down and have to return it. For some reason, I could not bring myself to finish this book. But I guess I played a trick on myself because I put it back in there, I guess to force myself to pick it again at some point. And it's here. So, all right, Past Taylor, I see you. I will be getting The Name of the Wind from my library again this month. And damn it, I'm gonna finish it. I'm determined. For being a more free-form TBR, this sure got heavy real quick. There's a lot of big fantasy books here, but I definitely think that I can do it, and I am excited to get to all of these. So, let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you have any thoughts. I'd love to chat with you guys. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Jenny!